Dana's coming in first, gang. Dana's coming in.
It's 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's good.
All right, guys. The gate was 10.6 million Canadian, basically $8 million US. Highest grossing event in the arena history, highest grossing arena event in Canada, and it was 18,559 people sold out. Jasmine and Jillian both won Performance of the Night, and Fight of the Night was Strickland du Plessis. They all won $50,000.
Nice. We've got a new champion in Dricus du Plessis. I'm curious, did you have him winning that fight? It was a very close fight, and did you have him on the scorecards winning?
It's funny. We were just looking at how the media had scored it, and right down the middle, I had it 2-2 going into the last round, and I thought Strickland won the last round. Guys who were sitting at the same table had it the other way, and it was a close fight. I thought Strickland looked great in the first 2 rounds. I mean, the jab was fucking beautiful. You don't see jabs like that in MMA. And the jabs did what they're supposed to do. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. He slowed down in the 3rd and 4th. Du Plessis kept coming forward, then started mixing up takedowns and punches. And I had it even going to the 5th round. I'm like, this is the round, see who wants it. And they both started to turn it up a little bit. It's one of those tight fights. But I'm also one of these guys, I believe you have to take it from the champion. So.
Sean Strickland's an interesting thing, right? Like, some of the things he says piss a lot of people off. I'm sure it can't be great for sponsors, but clearly this week he has become a massive star for the UFC. So with that in mind, do you want to give him an immediate rematch because it was such a close fight, or what do you want to do with Sean next?
I don't know. I mean, eventually these two are going to end up fighting again, I'm sure. But we're not thinking about an immediate rematch right now.
Dricus did call for Israel Adesanya. I know that everyone asks you about the UFC 300 main event every day at this point, I'm sure. But is that something that could potentially happen at all?
I'll have UFC's 300's main event for you soon.
Give us a hint.
Huh?
Give me a hint.
No.
Okay. New champion for the women's bantamweight division. Raquel got the job done tonight. What did you think of their fight?
Yeah, I've been close to Raquel for a long time, probably 10 years. And one of the things there's many things I love about Raquel. One of the things that drives me crazy about Raquel is she does not listen to her corner ever. She literally never listens to her corner. It's amazing. She keeps winning. You stay in the middle of that octagon and you throw. You let your hands go. You don't get into the clinch with Naira. It's just. But she won. I'm happy for her. She's been at this for a long time. She's had a lot of ups and downs. Stuck it out, and she's a world champion now.
You mentioned, you said before, like, one of the best things about your job is getting to put the belt around people's waists when they have been fighting for it for a long time. With her, she's been doing this forever. Is it just a nice thing?
Yeah, and we're super close. So, yeah, to see her win a world title and, it's awesome.
2 more for me. Du Plessis, obviously South African. I know UFC Africa is something you've wanted to do forever. Could he be the guy that takes you there?
Absolutely, positively can be the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last one outside tonight's event, there was reports that the Saudi event's been pushed back to June. I'm curious if that's true. And what about the reports where it was because of a disagreement over the card?
Total bullshit. That's a straight out fucking lie. I don't know who started it or how it started, but not one fight was announced to Saudi. Not one fight was announced to him. I called and asked to push the card back. Yeah, because we had a couple of guys that we want on the card, and they weren't ready. So, listen, you know how we are. We want to deliver. And if we're going to Saudi Arabia at the level that these guys do things, and it's a fight night, but we want to make it the best fight night we've ever done. So anybody who came out and said it was because the card wasn't good is a fucking liar.
Right here. What did you make of the fight between Neil and Mike Malott? Because Mike he kind of was viewed as this next star from Canada, and then, he ran into Neil Magny late in that third round. What did you make of that performance in there?
Yeah, listen, Neil Magny is the all-time greatest spoiler. That guy, don't ever think you're just going to go in and run over Neil Magny. And tonight he proved it again. He got destroyed for 2.5 rounds. And then turned it around, came back, and pulled out the win.
A similar question about Masvidal. He another win. He kind of pushed back on the label the fans gave him as a decision maker. Like, he only wins decisions. He doesn't think that's a fair assessment because he's winning dominantly. What did you make of his performance and his possibility of fighting for the title soon?
So what did he say? He's bummed out because people call him.
He's not bummed, but he says fans constantly call him, like, they criticize him because he's only winning decisions and not going out there and melting people.
Yeah. Well, not everybody's a knockout or submission artist. It happens. But the thing is about Neil, I don't think that Neil's any. Look,
talking about Masvidal, Evloev against Arnold Allen, that fight.
I thought you were talking about Neil Magny. All right. Yeah. I mean, what's his win streak like? He's on.
I think he's like 18, 19.
Yeah, 18 or 19, and yeah, that place sucked the wind right out of that fight sucked the wind right out of the arena tonight. So. It might bum him out, but he's got to deal with it. Yeah, that was the least fun fight anybody's ever seen. So he doesn't have much to complain about. You know who lost that fight? The fans. Yeah, so he doesn't have much to bitch about on that one.
I don't know if you were in the arena yet or not, but did you see the Sean Woodson, Charles Jourdain decision at the end of the confusion? Have you seen anything like that before?
No. Was that Buff?
I just think it was a little loud in there, so no one could really hear the scorecards or who had won. Charles celebrated even though he won, and Sean Woodson shook his...
So it wasn't read wrong? People just didn't hear it? Yeah. They heard it wrong?
It was read correctly, but no one could really hear it.
I was going to say, that's a very rare Buffer mess-up. Buffer doesn't mess up much, ever. Probably counting on one hand in his entire career. So, yeah, weird.
The UFC on Instagram posted something about India, the UFC India. Is there anything plans for an event in India?
Eric in here?
We created an Instagram account for India.
We created an Instagram account for India.
And last one for me, one last thing on the Saudi card. The people that were putting on that show said that they had requested Conor headline that card. Is that even a possibility?
No.
Dana, over here.
But I love it, though. You know what the thing is with Saudi Arabia? These guys are like, bring us the best you got, and we'll pay for it, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. Listen, for us, it's not about the money or any of that stuff. We always want to put on the best possible card that we can. We've been that way since day one. And when you go into a place like Saudi Arabia that does it at a level that they do it, we want to deliver.
Dana, just your thoughts on Jasmine Jasvidius on the undercard. She had to fight up a weight class after her opponent. It seemed like she couldn't make the weight, and she goes out there and gets a really dominant performance, a big strike differential. Just what did you think of the way she handled things this week and going out there and getting the win?
Yeah, so I talked to her after the fight, and she was like, I'm still pissed off about this whole thing, and she comes in overweight, and she does this and that. Yeah, I mean, what was it was like 288 to 4. Yeah. It's a pretty good performance, yeah.
And it looked like, once again, Toronto really, showing up here for the card the whole week. Everyone was buzzing. You heard the crowd here tonight. Any update on any potential Canadian dates for the rest of the year?
Canada has been very good to us for many, many years. I love this place, and yes, the answer is yes. We'll be coming up here from Toronto to Vancouver. We're going to cover the entire country and get back to, business as usual as it was back in the day with Canadian fights.
Is it possible you could go back to Vancouver again this year? You've gone there a lot, since COVID, and it seems like it's always a good crowd and a good turnout.
Yeah. I mean, I could see us going all over the country, not just not just Vancouver and Toronto.
And just one more thing on the undercard. Jimmy Flick got a pretty big win here tonight. His opponent missed weight, gets the win. His contract is run up. Is he someone you're looking to maybe re-sign it for the flyweight division?
Absolutely.
Dana, if I get you over here, Sean Strickland, the story of the week, maybe the story of the last year, 14 months. There was a bit of a scuffle earlier this week. Some comments he made, some offensive comments, caused some public backlash. But I know you're not in the policy of policing your fighter's speech. But was there any discussion with UFC, ESPN, Bud Light, any sponsors about like how to kind of handle this situation?
Zero.
At the same time, from the people in Toronto, from the fans, he received maybe one of the loudest reactions I've ever seen live. It was almost like Conor McGregor asked, "What's your impression of his star power right now? Like, does he always have to be fighting in front of crowds now? Can he still go to the UFC Apex? How do you view his drawing power?"
Yeah, obviously, you heard the gate and all that stuff. That's a combination of UFC coming back to Canada and the main event. But yeah, he can fight anywhere. Any of these guys can fight anywhere. Sean Strickland was never not an issue that we thought he couldn't draw anywhere, or we don't ever really think like that. We put on the best cards that we possibly can, and you roll into a city and we do all the bells and whistles, and we hope that the fighters do their job and deliver.
Did you get the sense from this week though that he's one of your top guys now?
Yeah, he's a star for sure, and I think now the way that this stuff works is now, Dricus wins the title, and I've been talking about Africa, and maybe we start looking at South Africa and start looking at arenas and possibly doing a fight down there this year.
Yeah, by the end, the crowd was going bananas for both guys. It was an amazing reaction. Just last one. Unfortunately for us Canadians, we had 9 Canadians fight, only 2 won, 0 for 7 for the guys. What's your impression of that? The return to Toronto, to Ontario. How are you kind of feeling about, especially compared to Vancouver, where all the Canadians won? How was the energy kind of different?
I did a scrum yesterday with the media before the weigh-ins, and this is exactly what I said. You come in, to a big hometown, home country, whatever you want to call it, fight with the crowd, the pressure, the this, the that. Tonight was a big test for these guys, and here we are.
Dana here to your right. First of all, I don't know if you saw it, but the City Tavares rematch, the split decision in the end. What were your thoughts on that? The media scored it 100% for City.
Yeah, I had a lot of people blowing me up saying he got screwed in that fight. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it. I didn't score it. I didn't watch it closely enough to have an opinion, but you're not the first one to tell me that.
Considering it started in the Contender Series and they're 1-1, could you envision a point where they maybe finish that out, that trilogy?
What's the question?
They started out on the
Right.
Contender Series, right? So they're 1-1
Right.
now. Would you consider doing a third fight for them down the line?
And this was the one that we were supposed to squash the whole controversy. Yeah. That didn't work out too well. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And I know you kind of answered this somewhat, but when the trash talk between Sean and Dricus got a little dark there with the child abuse and then the brawl at 296, did you ever consider going to those guys and saying, hey, this might be the one time you need to tone it down?
This might be the one time you need to what?
Tone it down, the trash talk?
I don't tell anybody to do anything. I don't try to control any other human beings in any way, shape, or form. They do it I say it all the time, we're in the fight business, and, if you get your feelings hurt that bad, you probably shouldn't ask the type of questions when you know the answer you're going to get from Strickland. Let's start there. You know what I mean? If you ask him, you know who he is, and if you ask him a certain question, he was baited in that question.
Well, I'm not, sorry, my mistake. Not referring to that question, just, Strickland got a little...
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I know what you asked me. It is what it is. It's the fight business, man.
Last one for me. You talked about maybe coming back to Canada. We're seeing the Saudi Arabia show this year. Are there any other destinations maybe that you haven't been to before that you'll be going back to this year that you can let us know about?
Now, right now, Saudi Arabia is going to be the first place, that we've never been. And who knows? I've been saying this all week. We have this card here. We got Anaheim. We got Miami. We got 300. We got Mexico City. And we have the Sphere. We have a ton of and that doesn't include International Fight Week. We got a ton of badass fights lined up this year. And as those play out, they will determine where we go in October, November, and December. So who knows where we could end up by the end of this year.
Thanks, Dana.
Yep.
Dana over here.
Yep.
Raquel Pennington was saying kind of all week that this fight was originally supposed to be her and Juliana Pena, and we know Juliana was injured. She called her out in the cage saying this is the fight she's wanted since the Ultimate Fighter 10 years ago. Is it a pretty safe bet if Juliana gets healthy, that's the direction to go for her first title defense?
Yeah, could happen, yeah. I mean, I sitting right here now, I don't know what Juliana's situation is, but yeah, I mean, they're eventually going to fight.
And as far as the middleweight title, you have Khamzat Chimaev out there tweeting to Dricus right now saying, see you at UFC 300. We know Dricus versus Adesanya is a huge fight too. What is going to be the process you guys take in figuring out what Dricus's next title defense will be? Because those are obviously both huge fights.
We'll figure this out Tuesday. We'll probably announce it next week.
Okay. Do you know what Izzy's availability is? Is he trying to fight again this year?
Do I know?
Israel Adesanya, like, is he looking to come back sooner than later? Do you know?
We'll find out next week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about, like, you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, you know, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
Like...
Free speech. Control what people say. Going to tell people what to believe. Going to tell people. I don't fucking tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want, and they can believe whatever they want. And I don't think there's any... We had two gay women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland thinks or what he says or what his beliefs are or what his opinions are. You know what I mean? Go ahead. What do you got?
I want to go back as well. A number of months ago, you spoke with a Sports Business Journal about that you were going to be sitting down with Jimmy Pitaro and talking about the future at ESPN beyond 2025. That was several months ago. At this point, are you still in the midst of like early negotiations, and are you envisioning post 2025 and ESPN being a big part of those?
Yeah, our deal is coming up, and yeah, I believe that talks will begin here with ESPN within the next 3 or 4 months.
And my last question, just because Mark Shapiro's talked a bit about the idea of these kind of super weekends with WWE, of going to a site one night, a WWE event, another night, a UFC event. Do you think that that type of thing works? And do you think that there are strategic ways to cross-promote between the two when there are distinct audiences as well that come with these products?
Could not agree with you more. I don't think, what I think is, if you take a city, I don't know, let's take a city like New York, Los Angeles, and any of the major cities, and you have both events the same weekend, right? I think you're going to bring in a lot of people that aren't the same people, and I think it would be very big for some of these major cities. I think it's a, you know, what you're looking for is an economic impact. You want hotels to be sold out. You want restaurants to be filled. You want people out shopping and hanging out. And yeah, I think that the WWE, the UFC, and a lot of other of our properties could definitely do that.
Would those likely be international destinations, or?
I think they could be anywhere. I think they could be international. I think they could be in the United States. We could literally do that anywhere. We both have, between us and the UFC, we both have pretty big followings, and I agree with you that they're not the same fan base.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Dana, right here. You watched some local Canadian MMA last night at the Unified event, and from all accounts, it was a strong card. But however, in light of, you know, a rough night for Canadians in the UFC tonight, what do you think needs to happen for another Canadian for Canada to get another title contender? Is there anything we can pinpoint?
No, I think first of all, that show that I went to last night, I love the venue. I mean, we're driving in all these back alleys and shit, and I'm like, what is this fight club we're going to here? And then we got to the destination and went inside. It was incredible. It was an incredible venue. And the promoters of that event were all class, and it was a really good setup there for looking for a fight. And I think that if Canada continues throughout the country to have promotions like that give these guys opportunities to get out there and get some wins, like that kid Mo, that fought, all I heard about the week leading up to this thing was this kid Mo. He's 23 years old and he's 3-0. I get it. You're excited. You got a kid that looks like but that kid, he needs time. I told him last night, don't listen to anybody telling you, take your time. You're 23. You got nothing but time. And, we'll see what this kid's got in another, a year or so. Probably have 3 or 4 more fights. And if he's 7-0 and continues to do this, then yeah. But it's about having these smaller promotions in this country and putting on fights as many times as they can a year.
I think a lot of people were looking at welterweight Mike Malott as kind of the front runner of this new wave of Canadians coming in MMA and the UFC. Obviously, he was very close to cracking into the top 15 tonight, but falls short with just a few seconds left. Do you think Mike Malott can still bounce back and become a star or somewhat of a star at 170?
Of course. Tonight was a big test for him. And I knew that coming in because everybody was talking about Mike this week too. And I said, we're going to find out on Saturday. This is his first big test. He's going to walk into a sold-out arena in his home country. There's a different type of pressure that goes on. And, mentally and emotionally, it's completely different. And it weighs on you physically when you get in there. He looked incredible until the last minute of the fight. And unfortunately, that's how it turned out for him. But he'll learn from this. He'll grow from this. And we'll see where he goes. But this doesn't mean he can't be a star in Canada.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of talk about Khamzat Chimaev potentially being next in line for a middleweight title shot. He posted some concerning health updates on social media a few weeks ago. Seems like he's okay. I mean, now he's obviously calling to fight at UFC 300. But do you know for sure, do you have any sort of official update on where he's at?
Yeah, it's weird. He did get very sick. And, I know he's better. I don't know if he's let's fight in 300 better, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Magomed Ankalaev won the first UFC main event of 2024 last weekend. He obviously wants to fight Alex Pereira for the next title fight. Jamal Hill he says he's been promised that next title fight when he's ready to go. Any idea which way you guys will go there?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. We good? Go ahead, sir. How are you?
Hi, Dana. Keith Whittier with Ottawa Life Magazine. First of all, congratulations to you and your team on putting on another fantastic event.
Thank you, sir.
Take you back last year, I had the privilege of being accredited for UFC 285, and during that, there was some filming for this movie called Roadhouse. Turns out that's being released on March 31st. I was wondering if you've had a chance to see it, and if so, how do you grade your feature film debut acting performance?
Mine?
Yeah, because with the face-offs that you did with the Jake Gyllenhaal character.
Oh, yeah. Is that my acting? No, if that's my acting, then, yeah. No, I don't act. I haven't seen it yet. We have it at the office, but I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it, but I haven't.
Okay. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I noticed there was a bit of a costume change. Before you skip town, are you thinking of going skiing tonight?
No, I'm going right to the plane and going home, man. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I had to get the hell out of that suit. It was driving me crazy. You going with me?
Just one real quick, actually, Dana.
Yeah.
Since it's on the topic of Roadhouse, that leads to Conor McGregor. Can you clarify what's going on with him? Because he announced that he's fighting June 29th. Obviously, nothing official has come from the UFC.
Right.
Is that what you guys are leaning towards? I know you made some comments this week, too, in an interview, I think, with Sportsnet, and maybe it was taken a little bit out of context in terms of like the clarity. So where do things stand with Conor right now? Is he fighting in June?
No. When Conor's ready to fight, we'll announce it. That's what we do.
June is a possibility, though?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good? What's up, buddy?
I just want to say thank you so much for coming to Toronto. I really love you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for coming. Have a good night.
Hi, Raquel. Right back here.
Oh, hello.
Congratulations. It's been a long journey here, the most fights going up to a championship for any female in UFC history. So to have that belt sitting there, knowing everything you've been through, what does it feel like?
It's still, I'm losing my voice. It's been a long day, but it's surreal. You know, it's 14 years of hard work coming together. I don't know. I'm still trying to take it all in.
When did you feel the tide really turned in your favor in that fight? Obviously, you probably knew she was going to start strong, and maybe you would be able to break her down and do that over the course of the rounds. Did it kind of play out as you hoped and expected in that sense, or was there maybe some surprises in the momentum shifts of the fight?
You know, I think for me, obviously, I'm my biggest critic, so I wanted a different, like, a totally different fight for myself for a world title fight. But, you know, there's a lot of good things to come out of that, and I think everybody knows with me, like, I have cardio for days, and so as the rounds go on, like, that's my strength. But it was, I don't know. I walked out, and I was extremely calm, and I was like, this is really weird. And so I felt like I started a little slow in the first round and kind of just adjusting to everything, but it worked out in my favor.
Yeah. I mean, going through a fight like that, Dana was in here and he said, you know, he loves you. We know you guys have like a long relationship and history together, but he said it drives him crazy that you never listen to your corner. Were you not listening as much as you wanted in that fight, or what's kind of your reaction to that statement from him?
Well, my corners were yelling at me to let my hands go, and Dana has told me since The Ultimate Fighter, like, there's no reason I shouldn't be knocking people out. So, yeah, he already found me and lectured me on that one, and yelled at me too that I drive him nuts and I should have let my hands go a lot more.
So what do you change in that regard going forward? Because look where it's led you. I mean, you can't debate the results and doing whatever you're doing. So what adjustments do you make?
I'm constantly climbing mountains. I'm constantly growing. And so one thing for me is, you know, I learned a lot on this journey back to the world title and being here, and even some of the struggles that I've had to overcome this week. And, you know, I mean, I believe, like, I freaking did it after 14 years of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. And so there's no more question. I go back, and now, you know, I sit here and preach all the time about having fun. It's time to really have fun, to truly just believe in every single aspect. And tonight when I was dropping some bombs, like, I seen it written across all her face, and it was just like, all right, okay, here it is. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal for myself coming out is, you know, let them fly.
And just last thing for me, you called out Juliana Pena in the cage. Dana was here. He said that seems to be likely the fight based on her health. For people who maybe aren't aware of the history between you two, can you kind of explain a little bit, and I guess what beating her in your first title defense would mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the fight that makes sense. I honestly thought for the world title it would be me and Juliana, but she's still injured. That relationship just goes back to 2013 when we were both on The Ultimate Fighter. Let's just say I learned Juliana's personality then, and it's kind of one of those ones that you're your own person. You stay your way and I'll stay mine, but you get under my damn skin, and I've been waiting for that fight for 13 years, whether the title's on the line or not.
Okay, I'm fine right here. Dana did say, like, it would depend on Juliana's health, and, like, if you wanted to be active, maybe you would have to fight someone else. So, like, just looking at the rankings, I think you've fought, like, 1 through 7 at this point in your career. So are you just looking, like, at a long line of, like, rematches potentially, or are there other names that you would like to fight?
Honestly, I really don't care. I mean, there's talent in this division. Everybody brings a challenge. People are constantly growing and evolving. I do want to stay active, and you know, I mean, I'm getting older and stuff too, and we have our family now, and we want to continue to build on that. So, I mean, it's just kind of finding balance in between everything, and I would like to defend the title a couple times, and then, you know, that's a wrap for me, so.
And obviously at the press conference, I think things got a little more heated than we expected when you guys were talking. So, but we did see you guys hug at the end and exchange some words. What did she say to you, and what did you say back?
We just said thank you. You know, it's always an honor. It seems these days that it comes down to a lot more entertainment. People have to talk crap to each other. I've never, like, when I started in the sport, that's not what it was about, and I'm still not that person. It did get a little heated at the press conference, but, you know, she just came up, and we thanked each other for sharing the octagon. It's always an honor. You know, you have two people going out there and putting everything that we have on the line. So there's a different relationship that comes with that, and then, you know, she just told me that it was a tough fight and it was hard for her, and taking it as for what it is.
Last one for me. What did it mean to have your family in there? You know, your daughter, Tisha's in there. You got the new belt around. Like, I'm sure you wanted to win the title against Amanda all that time ago, but winning it for the first time with those two in the octagon with you.
I've said it all week. Like, my stars have truly aligned. Like, there's a reason that everything happens, and I truly believe that. And now, like, it's the perfect timing, and to have these memories, like, it's not going to be something that Leia remembers, but to show her these photos, like, that means absolutely everything to me. It fills everything in my heart. It gave me a different motivation. Like, it's constantly making me a better person, and it's going to make me a great world champion. So just to have my family here, and I mean, it goes further than Tisha and Alea. Like, I'm surrounded by a huge supportive family, and then my coaches are my second family. So I just feel the love regardless. Like, I'm just blessed.
Actually, one more. Have you thought about those conversations you're going to have with her? Like, she's obviously not going to remember them now, but you can pull photos up and be like, look, like, I have the belt and you were there.
Yeah, I'm going to show her how awesome it is, but I'm going to remind her we're going to do self-defense and no fighting, no fighting.
Raquel, at times, I don't know, the crowd got a little bit restless. Maybe the action wasn't going the way they wanted to go. Does that register at all during this 5-round fight with Mara?
No, at the end of the day, like, they're not in there, People, they look on the outside and they want to see different things, but when you're actually in there and you're putting in work, whether it's up against the cage or it's a grind, like, it's hard, it's tough, and positions are very different. So, I mean, of course, people, they hear fighting and they want to see knockouts, they want to see blood, like, people are just very aggressive with that, and that's going to be sports fans for you. But for me, like, at the end of the day, I had a goal, and whether it's pretty or not, like, I achieved my goal.
Miesha Tate, past opponent of yours, your coach on The Ultimate Fighter. I know it seems like a lifetime ago now, but she praised you guys on social media. She thought you guys had a great fight. What does it mean, hearing about her support and other of your peers who probably sent you positive messages after the fight?
It's absolutely awesome, I mean, we're all out here, we're grinding, and we're working hard. You're going to have those athletes who, they talk their crap and stuff, but, Miesha, I mean, she's one of the pioneers of the sport, and I remember when I fought her back in 2016 now, at Madison Square Garden. After that whole fight, we hugged it out and everything, and she told me one day I would be a world champion. And, like, those are honestly words that I held very close. Like, she's done a lot of things for the sport. So to see where my career's grown to and, like, all the things I'm starting to accomplish and have accomplished, like, it means everything.
How does it feel to join the list of mom champions? There haven't been that many in UFC history, but you're one of them now.
It's wild. Like, I'm still taking everything in right now. Like, I have the UFC world title right in front of me. Like, I am the bantamweight champion of the world.
Raquel, just over here. When you were at Media Day on Wednesday, you were stating how great your mindset was throughout this camp, going into this fight, and trying to just treat it like any other fight. Was that the case as the days got closer, the hours got closer, or were you just having a great poker face this week going into it?
No, I mean, it's been a great week, and my mindset has been really good. Today was actually a very interesting day for me. Like, I mean, people want to learn the story behind things, and so this is one of them. Like, I woke up this morning, and to be in this position, like, this is something people dream of. This is what I've dreamed of, again, for the last 5 years, but this is something I've worked hard for, and, I remember back in the day, I said I wanted to be one of the first women into the UFC, and people laughed at me, and I was like, and then I'm going to be a champion, and people laughed at me again. And to get here, and I woke up this morning and, like, literally questioned everything. I mean, if you can't hear it in my voice, like, I woke up so sick, and I had to spend a lot of the morning talking with my coaches, my sports psychologist, Tisha. Like, I had to dig deep and pull out and, like, really find the champion mindset, because as a person, like, I did break this morning. But, I mean, it wasn't a poker face all week. Like, I've been solid in my thoughts and everything that I was going to go out there and do. And then it took one... I sat here and did a session with my sports psychologist and slowly started gathering myself, and then they brought my little girl around, and I seen how beautiful she looked, and I was like, all right, like, I'm not quitting. I'm going out there and I'm doing this. It doesn't matter how I feel.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Am I good?
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good night. Morning. Anybody up for some breakfast?
First of all, congratulations on the win. Great fight. Talk to us about the emotions of actually having that belt in front of you, winning the world title and becoming champion.
Wow. I mean, let's just talk about the emotions I felt when we started hearing one judge, and now I go, oh, shit. Because I honestly thought I did enough until but it was a close fight, I make no mistake. But I thought I had it. And then when that split decision came, I just went, okay, this is 100% 50-50. And when they said and knew, it felt like 15 years of work, of dreaming, of sacrificing, of everything came together in one single sentence. It's incredible. It feels surreal. It's amazing.
The fight itself, right, it was very close. You know, some people are going to have it for him, some are going to have it for you. You are satisfied with your performance, and you do feel like you did enough to win the fight?
Yeah, I thought I did enough to win the fight. It was definitely a close fight. I definitely gave him the first round, and I made the necessary adjustments to, in the fifth round, I didn't give him the round. I thought at the end, I don't know how they scored it, to be honest. Listen, it was a close fight. I'm not going to lie. It was one of those fights where there wasn't even time to really think of what is happening. But I do believe with the takedowns that I got, it was very back and forth with the striking, one for him, one for me. And I tried to stay ahead with the takedowns. By round 4 and 5, he did a good job of defending those, but obviously my takedowns got a bit sloppy. And he started, reading them. But those takedowns weren't really for getting a takedown. They were more to disrupt his game plan. But at the end of the day, I went toe-to-toe with the, self-proclaimed, and some people think, best boxer in the UFC.
Yeah, I want to talk about his boxing, right? Everyone knows that he's a good boxer, but when you're in there and you're dealing with that jab, especially in the earlier part of the fight, are you thinking to yourself, oh yeah, he is as good as they say?
Yeah, no, listen, he is good. He's definitely good. He caught me in the first round with the jab, and then I realized I can't let him get away with that jab, because my game plan was obviously, first 2 rounds, our plan was 100% to fight his fight, not to go out and fight the way that I fight. You'll see how the fight changed from the 3rd round. I went more to my style, but that was our game plan. For the first 2 rounds, he jabs, I jab, 1-2s, nothing serious. And then from round number 3, we start turning it up. And obviously, I had a lot of people to prove wrong with my gas tank, and I believe I did that tonight.
You called for Israel after the fight. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about how the result of this fight might have effects on UFC 300. I mean, I can see your face. You're wearing a little bit of damage. Do you think you could turn around that quick? And if not, is Israel still the guy that you'd like to fight?
A little bit of damage. Do you remember how handsome I was before this fight? I look like a cauliflower now. But, I mean, I'm pretty banged up right now. I don't feel like... Listen, I'm up for another round if they want to go right now. But, I don't want to put a timeline on it, but UFC 300 sounds amazing.
And just to be, for the last one, Israel Adesanya is the guy you want, right? There's still some personal issues there that you'd like to resolve, and you think that sort of fight is the one that's perfect for your first title defense?
Oh, no, it's nothing personal. It's not personal at all. That's just the fight the fans want to see. I want to fight the best competition. There's a lot of guys that are going to be fighting, but the fans want to see Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. There's a lot of hype that was already built on it. If the fans go, if there's some way they start tracking and saying, listen, the fans don't really want to see Adesanya versus du Plessis, we don't do that fight. It's fine to me. I don't care who it is. But that's just a fight on top of my head that I think the people want to see, and that's going to, get a lot of people excited.
Dricus right here. Sean just tweeted saying that he was referencing a headbutt in the fight, made it difficult to see, but he did give you congratulations and props on the fight. Did you notice any headbutt in there from either you or him?
No. I can't say that I can't say that I did. It's the first I'm hearing of it. No, I didn't feel a headbutt. Did he say I headbutted him?
He said, this is him saying, he said, well, fuck, man, that headbutt really made it difficult to see, but I thought we got it. I thought we got the job done. On to the next one.
No, I can't remember any headbutt.
Dana was in here, and when we asked him about, South African champion bringing the UFC to South Africa, he said absolutely. He seemed pretty adamant about it. So are you going to kind of get in his ear now that you have the belt, like it's now or never, essentially?
Yeah, it's going to be now for a long time, but yeah, I think it's time. I think we've worked our asses off to get this event to Africa and South Africa, and it's time that happens. Just so for the record, is there some people that think I lost the fight? Dana said it? Well, bullshit.
Kind of going off of the South Africa talk, what went through your mind when you saw the crowd? They showed it in the arena on the big screen, the fans in South Africa watching your fight and cheering when you got the belt.
Yeah, that was that was absolutely incredible. There's one thing about South Africa that I think if the UFC goes there, the whole world is going to see. You have never felt a vibe when it comes to sport like South Africa.
And last one for me, what do you want your title reign to be? Because lately we see these champions, they get one or two defenses and then they start talking about going up. The middleweight division right now is pretty wide open with contenders that haven't fought for the belt or fought you. Do you want to, go after these title defense records? Do you want double champ status? What do you ultimately want your reign to be?
Yeah, listen, I want to do what is expected, because do I want double champ status? Absolutely. But I'm willing to earn that. If there's contenders that make sense, I don't want to fight contenders that doesn't make sense. Fighting Israel Adesanya makes sense. Fighting guys that deserve the title shots makes sense. But I don't want to just fight somebody because I don't want to be Israel Adesanya that fought Sean Strickland. Yeah, Strickland won that fight, but they should have never fought, in my opinion.
When you say contenders that don't make sense, do you mean fighters like Hamzat, who maybe haven't fought a middleweight ranks, because he's also tweeting like "see you soon" and referencing UFC 300?
Yeah, but he said that to John Jones, so I mean, who takes that guy seriously anyway?
Dricus over here. Beyond the facial injuries, are there any other injuries you're dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, the body feels pretty banged up right now, but I can't say for sure how severe these injuries are.
You were having a lot of success with the kicks throughout the fight. Was that something that you saw going into this that would be a key part of your strategy, or was that something that just became available throughout the fight and you saw the success and kept with it?
Yeah, no, this is something we worked, we saw in all of his fights. He's really good at evading these kicks. We saw with Israel Adesanya, he wasn't very successful with his kicks because of Sean's defense. I got a few good head kicks in. I got a few good low kicks in. It was just the timing that we had figured out a little bit better than Izzy did in that fight. But yeah, anytime you're going to fight a guy with a strong and good jab, I thought, my coaches, Coach Manofas, he's obviously a genius when it comes to these things. We looked at the fight and said, that's how we're going to take care of a jab. And those kicks did start to hurt him by round number 3. 100%, and his jab became a lot lighter in that third round, definitely.
You also answered a lot of sort of at that point, like take us through your emotions, just preparing for those final 5 minutes.
No, not at all. I mean, I went into the first round and I said to my coach, wow, can you believe it? I guess I have a gas tank. And he said, this is the last 15 minutes of your life. And I said, damn straight. And, we basically, I was happy to be there in that fifth round. It wasn't autopilot at all. It was, damn, I feel great for a fifth round. When we went to the fourth round, I felt, damn, I'm going to prove a lot of people wrong tonight.
Dricus right here. At what point in the fight do you think you kind of had Sean's game plan and what he brought to the fight figured out? It seemed like in the first round he was kind of establishing the jab and whatnot, but the commentary mentioned that by round, maybe the end of the second, you really started to get a bit closer to him and started landing more punches, and that continued for the rest of the fight. Where do you sort of think you figured him out?
Yeah, exactly that. I think the first 2 rounds we spent, and that was our plan, to fight his fight, to see where it is. Obviously, keep him on the back foot. It's a lot easier said than done to keep him on the back foot because he comes forward. And he has a very strong, how can I say, his march. He doesn't storm forward, but he has a strong march. The way he moves, it makes it hard to push him backwards. But I just kept on putting the pressure on Sean. Every time he jabbed, moving forward. Yeah, I took a couple of punches more than I would have liked, but keeping him, every time he hits, I move in, I move forward. And, even him being the cardio machine that he is by the third round, you can't keep on fighting with that kind of pressure. He got tired. And that's where I really started landing more and more.
I think it was in rounds 2 or 3 when your eye started really swelling up. Obviously, I think you can see out of it, but was there any visibility issues, and was there a concern in the corner that it could get worse?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the cut man on that. He hit me with a jab in the first. I didn't feel it really. I could feel he got me, and all of a sudden I just felt this thing in my eye, but it didn't hurt. And his corner screamed and said, "He's already bleeding." And I thought, shit, am I really bleeding? And then in the second, he caught me on this eye again, I think. And all of a sudden, this eye went completely shut. Like I couldn't see, and I was like, come on. One eye. And that was the first time for me in a fight where my eye was completely shut for a while. I couldn't see. And then I went back to the corner. They put the ice thing on it. And the swelling went down immediately. So kudos to the cut man. It helped a lot. And then I cut him. We spoke about it in the doctor's rooms. And I caught him with a big punch, and his eye started bleeding. And I looked at the blood flowing, and I said, I hope that goes into his eyes. And he said, and I look at him, and I'm like, that has to be in your eyes. Come on. And he went like this. And I said, gotcha. And he tried not to. He said he tried not to wipe, so I can't see it's in his eyes. But then he started wiping, and I was like, yeah, well, now we're level. And I started, so I mean, but all in all, I mean, Sean Strickland's an absolute warrior, and world's respect for him.
What's the biggest improvement you think you've made over the past 13 or so months? And the reason I say 13 is that dates back to your fight with Darren Till. And that was a tough back-and-forth fight. You got the win, but it was not an easy one. And now you're knocking out Robert Whittaker. You're beating Sean Strickland for the title. What changed?
Yeah, nothing changed. I just got my ring time. I just got my octagon time and settled. Found a home in the UFC. Like I said, that's what I need. Found a home. We had some problems in terms of the conditioning, but we're fixed. I feel incredible. I think it's just about finding your feet in that octagon and accepting and believing that you're one of the best in the world.
I know you would have liked an early finish in the fight. Obviously, you don't get paid by the hour, but were you kind of happy as well to go the distance to kind of silence some of those critics that were saying cardio was going to be an issue in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big plus point for the fact that we went 5 rounds, is the fact that I could, hopefully my cardio is the discussion of the past. If not, keep on doubting. I don't care. At your own demise, of course, but if I'm going to do a decision like with the Brad Tavares fight, I said, if I have to go to a decision and I have to do it this way, any day of the week. I mean, I haven't watched the fight, but we got fight of the night, and it sounded like it was a banger. And in that case, I'm more than happy to go to the distance.
How big of a boost was it? Your teammate won last night at Unified. And that story in itself was kind of crazy with him coming to Toronto with you, getting the phone call, getting the fight, and getting a pretty big win there. How much did that kind of give you a little bit boost going into to the title fight tonight? Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for Marky Mark. Mark Hume, I honestly think he's the next guy to come in. He didn't get a finish last night, but, it was a 10-day notice fight for him. And he did what he had to win that fight. So I'm really happy for him, and hopefully he gets opportunity soon. And, to be here representing my team CIT in Pretoria, so many people are looking up to me and going, if he's there, I train with him, I can do that. And that means the world to me. And just last one from me. The crowd was chanting DDP. I know earlier in the week, they're kind of pro Strickland, but how was your overall experience in Toronto? It really seemed like you won the fans over with that performance tonight. Yeah, I love Toronto. I have to say it's amazing. I'm staying a couple of days extra. But yeah, I mean, Toronto, this whole week I said they might not be fans of me, but I kind of like it here.
Dricus right up front here. Just to sort of follow up on that question, could you sense during the fight that the support was changing a little? Because I could tell you, it seemed very pro Strickland at first, and was till the end as well. But then your cheering section got super loud. Could you sense that while you were fighting?
Yeah, no, I heard it when they started DDP. I was like, oh man, these guys ain't loyal.
If the UFC were to go to South Africa, would it have to be Johannesburg or Cape Town? Is there another city I'm just neglecting to mention? Would have to go to those?
No, yeah, well, it'd probably be Pretoria, Johannesburg, Cape Town, one of those. But I mean, there's a lot of great places the UFC can go in South Africa.
And there's been a lot of great athletes to come out of your country. Where do you feel this ranks you among the best athletes that South Africa's ever produced?
That's a very, very hard question. Right now, one of the best, and like I plan on being, I want to be known as the greatest ever.
Dricus, right here. I know you had mentioned a little bit ago maybe the possibility of the future being a double champion. That's an aspiration and a goal. The light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira, was in Sean's corner tonight, and that news seemed to come out like a couple hours before the fight. Did you notice him there when you, I guess, were waiting for Sean to come out? And what did you think of Alex cornering Sean tonight?
No. I didn't notice him at all until I saw him in the cage after the fight. And yeah, well, whatever.
Are you a little surprised that he would jump in there and do that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, take all the help you can get, man.
Thank you.
Dricus, just looking back quickly on sort of how you got here, how cool is it? It's a bit niche, but is it cool to be the only fighter who's ever won titles in EFC, KSW, and now the UFC?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. To go out and say every single organization I've ever fought in, I've been a champion. That's great. I mean, it shows consistency over a whole career. It shows consistency over my career since the age of 19. I've always had the aspiration, no matter where I am, no matter where I fight, to be the best.
Keith Whittier, Ottawa Life Magazine. Congratulations on the win and realizing your dream. What is the next week going to look like for you in terms of like the celebration?
Jeez, I don't know. I'll probably go. Yeah, I'm going to drink a lot of beer. That's about it. That's how much I can answer you. It's going to be. I'm going to be in Canada and enjoy the food scene. Definitely eat a lot. Enjoy the Super Bowl Sunday. Or is it now? It's Sunday's tomorrow, right? No. But I mean, it's the playoffs now, right? Yeah, that thing. We don't have football in South Africa, so. But I know when they play, it's amazing. The vibe is awesome, and well, basically any situation where I can drink beer, it's going to be great. So there's going to be a party. And the food scene in Toronto looks amazing, so I'm going to test that out. And then I'm going to South Africa, and then the real party starts.
Nice. And a very touching moment in the octagon after with your family. I was wondering if you could touch on that, because you spoke about bringing about 100 or so people over for the fight, and obviously it turned out the way that you wanted. And it was wonderful seeing you with your family inside the octagon after. Can you encapsulate what that moment meant for you?
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, to have my mom and dad there, both my brothers in my corner, meant the absolute world. My dad, my first amateur world title, I fought for a K1 a world title in Slovakia when I was 18 years old. And I said, for a South African, that was also unheard of, impossible. They said it won't happen. Even South Africa, the coaches in South Africa said that's not happening because we just don't compete at the level that these guys do. And I made it happen. I became a junior world champion. And I promised my dad that one day I will give him the UFC world title. I promised that him to be able to see how proud my dad is of me and all the support and love that my mom and dad has been giving me my whole life, my whole career, and they supported this. They wanted this just as bad as I did. And to be able to give them this belt meant the absolute world.
You getting a parade?
I don't know. I'll see. That'll be nice. I would like a parade. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.